Hello, I'm Gary Parker. I'm teaching CS120 this term online, and I'm here to give you an orientation so you can see what you're getting yourself into. I'll share my screen. All right, so when you log into Canvas and check out your CS120 course, you should see something like this, aside from my pink bar here at the bottom. And the course is organized in modules. And so in Canvas, the system we're in here, a module is just a group of stuff. And it's organized sequentially. So notice here we have welcome, important links, image search. So if I start off with welcome, there's a next button at the bottom, and that'll take me to important links, which was next. After that, image search, previous, takes me back to important links. So navigating through the course in modules takes you through things how I want you to read them over time throughout the quarter. This here, which you should read, talks about the course policies, so please take a look at that. That's important. I do my recordings through YouTube, and that uses what's called YouTube Live. It used to be called Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts still exists. It just has slightly different uses. And so if you ever want a video chat to go over how to do something, so I can show you my screen or you can show me your screen. If you have any difficulties, then Google Hangouts or YouTube Live is what we'll use to do that. And I have a playlist that I'll be doing weekly videos to, so that you can get an overview of the course through those videos. Otherwise, everything you need to know is in each week in the module. So every module is pretty similar. The first thing will be the learning outcomes, what we're hoping to accomplish that week. And then from there, there'll be some tutorial information. There'll be some reading and research stuff you have to do. And then there's going to be a project. And every week it varies a little bit, but typically each week there'll be 3 things going on. There's some tutorial reading and a submission for that. There'll be some research related to computer literacy in more general terms, and then there'll be some kind of project. The first week, what has to happen is you got to get a Google account if you don't already have one. Maybe you had one through your high school recently. If that's the case, I'd probably recommend getting a new account just in case the high school has any limitations on that account, or if they decide to cut you off at some point, it'd be a good idea to start a new account. We'll also be playing with a system called WordPress. WordPress is, originally it started out as what's called a blog or a weblog, was for people to kind of self-publish their own articles about different things. And it's turned into what's called a content management system. And you're going to do a little bit of reading about what's a blog, what's a content management system. And WordPress is going to help us set up websites. So we're all going to set up a website on day 1 here, which is pretty cool. As far as the content of the course, the things that we're going to go through, we've got our basic skills, which is getting started with a Google account, looking at Google Drive and Google Docs in week 2. Let's move this up a little bit. In week 3, we'll jump into Google Sheets and some software research. Week 4, we'll continue with Google Sheets and take a look at Google Forms for doing surveys. We'll continue to finish up analyzing the survey in week 5. You're going to build a how-to guide showing people how to do something with technology on a computer. And there'll be the midterm exam in week 5. There's only 2 exams in this class, the midterm and the final exam. Following that, we'll spend 2 weeks editing graphics, which is pretty awesome. And then we'll spend the last 3 weeks doing more with web stuff. So learning more about how web pages are built, what's going on to make them look the way they do. And this is just an introduction to web design in the last few weeks there. And the last week here is a little bit of web design, but mostly it's reviewing stuff from earlier in the course to get ready for the final exam. So the big things are sharing with Google Drive. And so sharing documents online is a big deal, whether you use Google Drive or use something like Dropbox. Using a word processor, we're going to use Google Docs. Using a spreadsheet, we're going to use Google Sheets. We're going to play around with, again, forms. and then graphics editing and web design. So those are all the big topics for this course. So in any particular module, it's important that you look at things in order, because I think I did a pretty good job of setting it up so that you can take a look at what we're covering that week and then guide you through how we're going to go through it. So in some places, the reading that you need to do is right on the page. With that in mind, there's no textbook for that course that's published. All of the reading is either on a particular page, or there'll be links out to other pages to do some reading. So this one pretty much is all self-contained. There's a bunch of instructions on how we're going to get started with Google and WordPress. But there's going to be some other pages. Here we're going to submit an assignment. I'll come back to that. Here you're going to post your new website that you're going to build. Amazing how quick and easy it is to build a website. Information about sharing with Google. Yeah, so here's another example where there's some information that you can read on the page, but there's other places where you're going to have to go out to these other sites and do some reading. And on each of these, I'll tell you, do you need to read the whole page I take you to, or just a little bit of it? So here, for sure, you need to read the first few sections, right, as opposed to the first few paragraphs. So what is a blog? That's one of the sections. What is a blogger? The blog content. Comments. What's the difference between a blog and a CMS? That's important. Things bloggers need to know, not that big a deal. Syndication, managing content, trackbacks. So if you're going to be someone that's going to self-publish a lot, the rest of this page is pretty useful in that respect, so that can help keep track of the people that read your pages and link out to you. Otherwise, the difference between blog and CMS is pretty much as far as you need to get on this page right here. So there's a combination of tutorials within Canvas and then links out to other tutorials where people have written some great stuff. So we're just going to take advantage of great stuff that exists on the internet rather than spending $100 for a new book. I hope you guys are all right with that. Other things, if you're new to Canvas, you have an inbox. The inbox can be used to write to me. Other ways you can get in touch with me are, if you take a look at the syllabus, my telephone number is there and my email address. So you can write to me from your email address. My preference is that you use a Google email address, but you can use your school one to write to me. However, to do this course, you have to have a Google address because you're going to be using Google Drive and Google Sheets and Google Docs. So you might as well use your Google email. With that in mind, as far as your account goes, you can adjust your account preferences to use your Google address instead of your BMCC one. I can also show you later how to use your Google email to incorporate your BMCC email, so you only have one place to check mail, which is kind of nice. Calendar, that's a big one. So calendar, all of your courses will be listed on the side, and you can choose to turn them off or turn them on in terms of visibility. Now, this one right here is showing the Getting Started tutorial submission is crossed out, which means that it's either past due or I started it. And I did start it, and I'll come back to that and show you. So this shows the date at which something is supposed to be done. Not the date at which you should start it, but the date it should be done. So you want to stay ahead. Usually, most things are due on a Sunday. You don't want to wait till Sunday to get all this done. Pretty much in any week, if you just try to get it done on Sunday, you're going to be out of luck. There's no way you can get all that done in one day. So you want to budget an hour to 3 hours a day, depending on the day. So for a course like this, it's a 4-credit course. I would expect you to spend about 12 hours a week on this course. Some people might spend a little more, some a little less, but on average, about 12 hours. If you can't budget that much time in this week, you shouldn't be taking this course. If you can, I'm glad to work with you, and I'm excited to work with you. Get back into this course. So remember, there are weekly due dates for this course, and you want to keep track of that. Not a little. Canvas will usually have a side panel here, depending on the device that you're looking at it through. If it's a smartphone or a tablet, And instead of being on the side, all that stuff's going to be way at the bottom to do upcoming. It just kind of depends. It's adjust to the size of the screen. A phone or a tablet or a computer. You want to keep track of, are you getting stuff done? Because when you're looking at the home screen here, anything that has something due will say the date that it's due. Often things are due on Sunday, but not always. So this week, there's a couple of things that got to get done right away. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble proceeding in the rest of the week. If you look at week 2, most of those due dates are on that following Sunday. But again, sometimes things are due earlier, so pay attention to that. If something has a date on it, it means you have something to submit. That submission could be a quiz, or it could be typing information into a text box. All right, so I'm going to come back with another tutorial soon about this week. But mostly there's just a lot of stuff to read and do, and you just need to sit down and do that. The Getting Started tutorial is what I want to take a look at next. So here, again, it says you have to have a Google account. If you don't have a Google account, you can get one, and there's instructions on how to get one here. So I can just take a quick look at that. Let's open up Guest tab. Go to Google. So when you first go to Google, there's a sign-in option. If you already have an account, you just type your account information, name, password. If you don't have an account, more options will allow you to create an account. And then they want a little bit of information, including an existing email address. So we're going to play around with Drive, Docs, and Sheets to start off with. Now, WordPress. WordPress, again, is a content management system. It's a system for building websites. You've probably heard of something like Wix, for example. WordPress is kind of similar to Wix. You can go to wordpress.com and build a website. So I have a version of WordPress set up at BMCC. So we're not going to wordpress.com. We're going to WordPress at BMCC. So here's WordPress at BMCC. And right now it says I'm logged in, so let's log out. Another thing to get used to on WordPress, a lot of sites these days, if you point to something without clicking, a menu will pop up. And WordPress is like that. If I point to something, no click, stuff pops up. If I click, something else happens. Like just that. All right, so I'm logged out there. At the bottom in WordPress, there's a login option. Now, although it offers a username and password option here, we're never going to use that. We're always going to log in with Google here at the top. Okay. I'll come back to that in just a moment. There's a lot of instructions on how to do stuff, and anything to do with technology, if it's a little complicated, that means there's a lot of steps. Anytime you do something with a lot of steps, it's a good idea to read through all the steps before you actually do them. Okay, kind of like reading a recipe for baking something. Usually it looks like it's linear, but sometimes there's stuff that has to go on at the same time. So read through all the instructions, and then start reading through it again and following along. So this is information about setting up your WordPress account. And again, it's at WordPress at BMCC. So I'm going to go over to a different account here. So here I am as a different version of me in Google. And I clicked that link, WordPress at BMCC. And I'm going to choose to log in. And then again, never username and password. Aren't you sick of memorizing usernames and passwords? It's kind of crazy. We can use Google to log into lots of services. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to tell WordPress we want Google to log us in instead of having to know a username and password. Very interesting. It didn't work. User registration is disabled in this. Fascinating. It worked 5 minutes ago. Well, fun with technology. Shit happens. All right, I guess I'll come back to that in the next video. So, what should happen, let's blow this up a little bit. By the way, if you want to blow up a font when you're in a web browser, Control+, zoom in. Zooming out makes font smaller, that's Control minus. So a little bit. So what should have happened there was you were going to log in, which is near the bottom right side of the page, and then select the login with Google. Google then should have said, do you want to allow WordPress to access your account? And we were going to say, yes, allow. At that point, you would get one of two screens. One would say you're logged in. If that's the case, you would log out immediately and then go check your Gmail for a message from WordPress at BMCC. That message will come to you anywhere from 1 minute to 1 hour, so be patient. If you don't receive that message within an hour, check out this note down here, then something went wrong, and then you need to contact me. So to contact me, you can either get in touch with me through the inbox or grab my email address from the syllabus. If things go well, once you do the login with Google, WordPress will respond with, in the upper right corner of the screen, you'll see, hey, you're user number 308. Make a note of which user number you are, because you're going to email me that. If all goes well, you get an email that says, hey, WordPress says you want to create an account there, and then you'll click the link that says continue the registration process. If that happens, then you can go on to the next point. Otherwise, you need to wait till I get back to your email where you told me either you got a user number from WordPress or something weird happened, like with me right here, and then tell me what happened. If all goes well, then you're going to create your WordPress site. And I'll come back to playing with WordPress on the next video. So, again, this is computer literacy, CS120 at BMCC. Majority of the course information comes from home right here. And this gives you reminders about the stuff that's due soon. And on the home page, anything that has something to turn in, will have a date and a point value next to it. There's at least 3 or 4 assignments every week to do. Most of them are little things, some of them are bigger. And there's only 2 tests, which is kind of nice. Each week, there'll be 3 kinds of assignments. There'll be assignments where you have to do a tutorial, where we guide you through it. There'll be other things that are projects, where you kind of create it based on some guidelines. And then there's some computer literacy stuff, which is about reading and writing about technology today. And so each week we'll have a combination of those 3 kinds of things for the most part. My name is Gary Parker. Physically, you can find me in Pendleton, Emmerdon Hall, room 109. I have office hours at 10 and 2. If you need to call me at some other time, give it a try. Worst thing that can happen is you leave a message and I'll get back to you soon. Telephone number's here. There's my email address. So, get busy, do some good computing stuff, and I will come back with some videos in the near future. Take care.